Okay. So yeah, let me know how the audio balances, just so I know to change it if I need to in the future. Oh. Axolot Isaac. That's how I'm going to say it. Axolot Isaac. Thank you so much for the follow. So, okay. So the main reason why it's going to be really, really, really hard to do a Duck Hunt matchup chart is just because a Duck Hunt matchup is mostly going to depend on how well you know how to fight a character, but also how well you know how to fight a play style. If you talk to a lot of different Duck Hunt mains, they're probably going to have like wildly different opinions on a lot of matchups, except for a certain couple of ones. So the first matchups that we're going to do, we're going to talk about the ones that are heavily in Duck Hunt's favor, just because they're generally the easiest ones to figure out. And as long as you just know like the basic principles of Duck Hunt, it'll be easy enough to do these. Basically, these are the matchups that you should just know how to play no matter what. As long as you understand how Duck Hunt works, you should never have any issues with these matchups. And as you might guess, that's actually going to be mostly with the heavyweights, but also some other projectile ones. So we'll put them at the bottom, or we'll put the easy ones at the top. We'll just go in order. And the other thing too is like there's all these other different breakdowns I can do, but let's break it down with the easiest one, DK. So DK is by and large probably the easiest matchup for Duck Hunt. This doesn't mean that you can't lose to DK. That's a very different thing. You can obviously lose to a DK just because he has really, really good punish game, and if you play it wrong and he's in a moment where he can just get in and like grab you, you could just pop and die and lose your stock really fast. DK more has the ability to do that. However, DK has like one of the hardest times of getting in against Duck Hunt, and that's mostly just because he has no way to get in. And not to mention, like, this is one of those few matchups where, like, if he's running at you and you're spamming Clay Pigeon, DK physically can't do anything against that. And if you know he's about to, like, go in and grab you, you can literally just Clay Pigeon frame one, and he basically loses the grab right there. And not to mention, when you land that Clay Pigeon, you're going to just do a combo across the entire stage or he's dead. And once you get, even if you don't kill him off that Clay Pigeon, once he gets to ledge, his options to get off of ledge are absolutely atrocious. So more than likely, he's probably going to live to like 160 at ledge. But like, as long as you know, eventually I'm going to use the back air to hit him, or I'm going to do down angled F tilt if he does like roll and stuff like that, you'll get the kill on him. It's not hard to get the kill on him. It's not hard to set that up. Not to mention, neutral for him is just like abysmal to get in. So easily, probably the easiest matchup for us, just because he kind of has the least amount of counterplay to Duck Hunt in terms of what he can do in neutral. And like, even the ways that he gets advantage are heavily hindered by the way that Duck Hunt functions, just based off of Clay Pigeon. Like, Clay Pigeon becomes a reaction tool you can use to just get around him. It's kind of ridiculous. So that's the reason why, if you understand how DK works, DK should be like, if you understand how Duck Hunt works, DK should probably be the easiest matchup. But the thing you always need to remember with Duck Hunt is this: if you're spamming like extremely laggy projectiles and you don't understand how to wall out DK, like that's kind of the main thing I have to emphasize. Like, your cam placements are bad, you're not using Clay Pigeon correctly, he can just get in and just like destroy you. It's just kind of a hallmark of any heavyweight. 60%, you can be dead. But generally, as long as you understand what you're doing, this should not be hard. The next one that we'll do after this, kind of for very different reasons from DK, is going to be Samus. So there are some things about Samus that did get a lot better for her. But at the same time, everything that made this matchup like absolutely terrible for her back in Smash 4 still reigns true here. Yeah, so far it doesn't look like there's any points that I have to talk about yet. But for Samus, basically, she has no way to play neutral just like DK, but it's for the opposite reason. So DK's always trying to get in and approach you, where Samus is always trying to make you approach her. The issue is this with Samus. Because we're so short and we can set up Anchor Can, we basically are able to absorb every single projectile, and we are not even required to move. Like, Charge Shot, not going to hit us. Missiles, as long as, like, if she does strong ones, not going to hit us. She has to do, like, a homing one, and if you're so far away, like, the homing one's not even something you need to worry about. Like, you can just shield it, or you can just, like, you know, F-tilted it. It's going to go away. So, missiles are nothing that you even need to be worried about. The other thing is... Samus is only good when you're really approaching her, but if she has to approach you, she like falls apart completely. Like, none of her moves are like that safe. It's very easy to bait out. The one saving grace about Samus is that she did get a lot of buffs, and she kills really, really, really early. Like, while we can play around Charge Shot and all those things really easily, if you're not paying attention to at least always stay behind your gunman or your can, that obviously can clip you. Her aerials are ridiculously strong, so if she is able to knock you off stage, you should be dead, just because, like, she's really good at edge guarding us, she's really good at ledge trapping, and it's just her moves are just going to kind of go through you. And now she can kill off a grab, too. That's kind of important, because before it was like, literally, if she somehow broke through your wall, which she shouldn't have, you could just shield and you would know you would basically live. Now she can kill you off of up throw and then very situationally back throw, but truth be told, in this matchup, that should never really happen. It does help. However, it's still very bad. So while the buffs do help her in terms of closing out if she gets in, it's still like kind of impossible for her to even get to those moments where she can get those things to pull them off. So basically, kind of the idea behind these two characters is that the only way you lose is if you mess up. That's kind of what it is. And if that's what the game plan that your opponent has to go in with, it's a bad matchup. So kind of by default, that automatically puts like Dark Samus here as well. And I think that's, yeah, because I mean, there's no differences between the two in the matchup. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so the next ones we're going to talk about, obviously going to go more of the heavyweights. Next up, definitely going to be Ganondorf. So Ganondorf, again, his whole game plan relies off the same exact thing as like DK, where he needs to get in, he needs to approach you, and his game plan relies off of you messing up. Always remember though, because you are fighting Ganondorf, if he does touch you, you die. And he very much deserves to kill you if he gets it. Like, it should be almost impossible for him to get him just because he has zero approach options. Even if he decides to do, like, Flame Choke from a distance, like, that's still going to lose to a reaction Clay Pigeon. And not to mention, you can just put out a hitbox where his hand is, and it's going to beat it out. Also, edge guarding him is extremely easy. A down smash will take him out super early because the angle is so shallow on that. Down tilt's really good for taking him out too. It's just that, you know, if he does land a hit on you, you'll die. And he's really good at dealing with trades. And I think there's going to be certain instances where he can trade a little bit better than some of the other characters, but that's kind of about it. Super slow, really hard time getting in. His literal game plan is only that you mess up. And that's kind of it. So another super strong advantage character there. Let's see. Next up. So it's like there's some other characters that I can kind of put in the same category. But, oh wait, I forgot one more. Wii Fit. Wii Fit Trainer. So Wii Fit Trainer is another one of those that Wii Fit has no neutral against Duck Hunt. Basically, her whole entire game plan relies off of people approaching her at the ledge. But if you know how to set up your anchor cans, you know how to set up your gunmen, you're going to have a very easy time keeping her out. However, the matchup in this game is better for her now than it was in Smash 4. Mostly because of the way Deep Breathing works, in that now it's basically a mini limit. And like, not only does she get stronger, she does get faster, and she just has a lot easier ways to kill now. So at least on the punish game front, and the fact that she does get like a temporary like mobility boost, it did get better for her. However, we're still short. Her hitboxes are really awkward to hit us. and her neutral game plan just does not work against Duck Hunt. As long as you know how to set up Anchor Can and you know how to set up Gunman, she just really can't do anything. So if you don't know how to play the matchup and you just don't understand, like, I just need to be ready to block like the header and Sun Salutation, then obviously it's going to be a lot tougher. But as long as you know how to play around that, you shouldn't have any issues with her. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for the strong advantage. There's some others that are very close to it, but it's like I kind of feel like most of these characters have something about them that's slightly better. I'll put this as a middle category between strong advantage and disadvantage. So yeah, it's like, honestly, these are ones that could go either way. But I do think these characters are slightly better at fighting Duck Hunt than these. First ones I'll put here, I'll definitely put Bowser. Bowser just like has a lot more cheese to just kind of like instantly like just pop you. Not to mention, it's just like he's got like really good boxing tools that are disjointed. He can break shields a lot easier compared to DK. And then just overall, I just feel like his punish game's a lot better than it is compared to DK. He's not as reliant on grabs. And not to mention, like, you know, he has ways to pressure platforms really well with like side B and all that stuff. However, of course, that stuff's going to lose to shield can. But as I mentioned before, because Bowser is good at breaking shields, you can use shield can against him in basically every instance, but you do have to keep in mind your shield health. Otherwise, you might just break your own shield. So that's kind of the main thing there. Varun? Nah, definitely ain't even. Yeah, no, Bowser loses. It's just that Bowser has an easier time getting the cheese to win. The mobility is really, really good too. And the fact that he now he has a 3-frame jump squat, that helps a lot too. And there's probably like some really weird niche instances where Tough Guy will save him. Like, let's say a reticle shot hits him, but it doesn't pop him into the can, or he just like walks right through it. Then, you know, he's gonna get back. But obviously, ledge trapping, really easy to do against him. He has among the worst ledge options out of the entire cast. Super easy to juggle. He just kind of has like some timing mix-ups with like down B and down air. But, you know, he can just kind of kill you at 40% too. It's a very realistic thing to happen. But yeah, no, overall, very easy character to fight, but he's just definitely scarier to fight than like Ganondorf and DK. But more than likely, as long as you know how to play Duck Hunt, he should be basically just as easy as DK. And that's kind of the reason why I put him in either strong advantage or regular advantage. If you're good enough, it should be just as easy as DK. But Bowser just has like slightly more to make it easier for him. Let's see. Next one here. Let's see. Okay. So these two characters, Ryu and Ken. So there might be like some more slight differences that I have to fight, where there might be some very niche things that Ryu might be better for. But I'd have to play the matchup a bit more. But basically, Ryu and Ken, same exact problem as Ganondorf. Ganondorf, Ryu, and Ken have no physical way to approach Duck Hunt, and they have like no way to really bait that out of him. Not to mention, everything they do is going to lose to shield can. So it's really easy to win in the neutral. It's really easy to just like keep punishing them over and over again. But of course, Ryu and Ken have ridiculously good punish games, and you know, they can just kind of explode you off of one hit, off of like these really crazy confirms. And they can also do like some of these other really crazy things in neutral that no other character can do. But like one big thing is focus attack doesn't work against Duck Hunt because Arcana is a multi-hit move, Clay Pigeon's a multi-hit move, Up Air is a multi-hit move. There's just like absolutely no way that they have a good time of getting in, and you can punish them like crazy for doing this. So, truth be told, very easy characters to fight, but they can kill you immediately. So if you don't know the matchup and you don't know exactly how to keep them out, it shouldn't be too difficult. It can make it a little bit harder to learn the matchup. The other thing, too, is that both Ryu and Ken lose to the Marth Slayer, particularly Ken. One thing that really messes up Ken is that because his Shoryuken has the strong hitbox at the very end of it, it's very easy for that to detonate the can at the ledge. So if you shield can it and you place can in the right direction on the right ledge, it actually can stage spike him, but most of the time it's just going to reset him, and he has to get back on Tatsumaki, and you can just back air him, and that's really easy. Like, if you trade with the Tatsumaki on Ken, that's a kill for you. It's not going to matter. With Ryu, you know, his Tatsumaki is actually pretty strong, but, you know, regardless, it's still a very easy move to just go off stage and back air. So you don't really need to worry too much about that. It's like, I would have to fight them both to really see the differences between Ryu and Ken, but I kind of have a sneaking suspicion if you optimize it. I feel like Ryu would probably be slightly better at fighting Duck Hunt than Ken is, but there might be some other things that Ken has that might be slightly better. I'd have to just check. Yeah, that's really all it is to them. Let's see. I don't think there's anybody else I'd put in strong advantage. So the other ones that I personally think should be there. Oh, I forgot. Incineroar. Yeah, definitely here. Incineroar is more likely in strong advantage than regular. I'm going to put him in strong advantage. Basically, this is the thing with Incineroar. He's basically Ganondorf in like every sense of the word, and I would even argue probably a little bit easier to edgeguard in a couple of respects. That might be a little bit wrong, but just the fact that like the way that he has to recover with up B and all that stuff. Obviously, if he can up B and like up B straight to the ledge, he'll be okay. But overall, just way too slow to get like anything meaningful. His grab doesn't work too well. I think it does go through Clay Pigeon if I remember correctly. Like I think if he does get the grab, he can't ignore our projectiles. I'd have to double check that one again. So that'd be like one slight advantage that he has. But like outside of that, like it's hard for Incineroar to get anything started. It's just that Incineroar plays off the one gimmick. If you mess up, he's going to kill you. If he gets revenge and you're not consistently getting the grabs on Incineroar, which because of the way our projectiles work, especially with Can, pretty easy to do. You know, he shouldn't, truth be told. Are you talking about for Incineroar? Yeah. Like, truth be told, Incineroar should never be playing with Revenge just because of how easy it is for us to get our things. When he hits a projectile? Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay, yeah, so Incineroar should never have... Incineroar should legitimately never have Revenge unless he's just revenging your projectiles. That's it. Which, you know, realistically, an Incineroar player could do that. But, yeah, no, it's like, this is not a good matchup. So, yeah. He relies off a punish game, and the fact that projectiles and grabs take it away, which are two things Duck Hunt gets a lot, it's like he can't even really reliably use Revenge in this matchup then. Just stay away, you'll be fine. Yeah, definitely a strong advantage then. Okay. Let me see. Anybody else being strong? Yeah, I think after this, this is where I would start. I'm going to put Terry here just because I don't know. So Terry is either... Terry I kind of put in the same realm as the Shotos, but I kind of have a feeling he might be slightly better than them. So I'm going to put him here just because I don't know just yet. But the thing is, the thing with Terry is this. It's like I think he has more ways to get around projectiles, but it's still very hard for him to get in. And then I'm not exactly sure how well his confirms work against Duck Hunt, but for the most part, his neutral's still going to work the same way as the Shotos in a lot of respects. So he still kind of loses to the same thing. It's just that, you know, his neutral doesn't obviously have focus attack, so that's never been a part of his game plan. But it's kind of hard for him to get into Duck Hunt. Like, you know, even if you want to do Power Dunk, Can's kind of in that area already. If he's trying to do like crack shooting things, you know, Can's still going to beat that out. Clay Pigeon's Gunman, that's all going to be in that area. It's just that he kind of has a better burst distance, and I think his speed's like closer to. Let me check. I actually don't know how fast Terry is. Let's see. Run speed. Dash and run speed. So Terry's there. Where's Ken? Yeah, so he's like about the same speed as Ken. Let me see where Ryu is. Okay. Yeah, so we'll basically say like Terry basically has like the Ken speed stats. But that's about it. Yeah, that's the other thing too about Terry. It's just like the burst options are better, but you can punish them very easily. So that's kind of the issue he runs into. So I'm going to put him here for now. He could easily just be regular advantage. But obviously he's much better than all these characters. So I'm going to put him here. Could be here, but he's pretty similar to the Shotos for the most part. Yeah. Yeah. For Puff, I kind of would put her in regular advantage, or actually, wait, no, there's actually a couple of characters we can put here. So the next two we'll actually put Puff, and we're gonna put Kirby here. So the issue with Puff is this. Puff has like no way to approach Duck Hunt in a really safe, reliable way at all. All of her options lose to Shield Can. Can's really good for controlling the air too. Not to mention you can have the Gunman down there to just like kind of control that area. The main thing is like obviously you're not using Clay Pigeon against her, but like Can kills Puff reliably at 140, so you don't even need that. So honestly, very easy character to fight. It's just that if you don't know how to fight Puff, you might get caught off guard by like some things that would carry you off stage and kill you. Like edge guarding us, she's good at. And the other thing too is like now that she has consistent rest confirms, that helps as well. So those are kind of the two things as well. So Kirby, definitely better at fighting us than Puff. Mostly because the Kirby's are really, like, Kirby's got a lot of nice confirms, really, really good combos. And like, if you don't know how to, with Kirby, if you don't know how to play against, if you don't know how to like play against like some of like the fake kill confirms that he has, but like feel real because like you didn't air dodge out a specific way, he can definitely like get ways to kill you. But there's two big issues: too slow, and it's really hard for him to get in. So like not really any good approach options. And then the other thing too is we can play the distance game with projectiles, so it's like we can keep him out indefinitely, and his recovery's horrible. Like if he tries to up B back, Can should clip him every single time because he can't sweet spot. And not to mention, it's like if you place Can there and you do jump down air, you'll do the hitbox extension on the Can, and the down air is just going to kill Kirby that way. This is the thing though, when Kirby gets the Can Kirby actually can do a lot of things against us, just because it's a really weird projectile in terms of like trapping things, but you're pretty much never going to run into a Kirby that knows how to use it. So that's kind of something that helps. Something that does help Puff and Kirby too is because they're small, it's really hard for it to like actually hit them. You just kind of have to know exactly where you need to place them in order to get them, which, you know, that's its own learning curve, but not nearly that difficult. But yeah, like honestly, if it was the most optimized Kirby in the entire world with knowing how to use Can, Kirby probably could be an advantage. But because there's no Kirby like that, we'll put Kirby here. If you're fighting a Kirby, it's going to be this. So yeah, you know, overall character did get a lot better, but just not enough to do this. Next up, we are going to have, I think I'd put them in advantage. I think I'm going to do advantage now. I think that's what I want to do. Yeah, let's go ahead and let's start doing the advantage one. Okay. So, advantage. Let's start off with some easier ones. Dr. Mario. This is where he belongs. So, Doc. Let me just see. Yeah, when I get to the matchups, I'll talk about these. So, Dr. Mario is a character that you lose to because you have some very bad neutral habits. Like, that's kind of the way it works. If you want to know you have an exploitable habit, Dr. Mario is going to be the character that's going to show you exactly what your exploitable habit is. Way too slow to get in, doesn't have a good anti-projectile thing. Like, if he's fighting charge shot, okay, Cape's good enough, but he kind of has to read with that, especially if you're playing on Wi-Fi. And like literally, if you decide to circle camp Doc, he's not going to catch you, and that's a really effective strategy against him. The thing about Doc though is that once he gets in, he's going to do damage. If you're really bad with your cans and clay pigeons, his Cape at least can do some power against that. And like once he's in, he's doing damage. If you're going for trades, Doc's going to win that. And something like I noticed like a lot of duck hunts have an issue with is like, especially with like landings, a lot of duck hunts will like land on top of Dr. Mario, and up smash will just like destroy you for that. So that's always got to be something you got to look out for. And pill confirms are actually good. If you're playing on something like FD or Pokemon Stadium, you can like place your pills in ways where it will navigate around the projectile field, and he'll be able to confirm that into like an up B or a fair, and he can also do like down tilt up B. So like he does have kill confirms, and obviously he has back throw too. So, you know, not necessarily got the hardest time with killing, but he shouldn't get into a position where he should be able to. And the other thing too, as far as duck hunt fighting Doc, like, you know, we keep him out. If we get him to the ledge, he should be dead. Like getting off of ledge, not the hardest thing in the world for him. But the thing about Doc is that he can't recover. So as long as you go off stage and you use Nair and you just touch Dr. Mario and he burned his jump, he's gone. Like, he's just dead. This is the easiest character in the world to edgeguard. So you really don't need to think much beyond that. Just go ahead, go off stage, do the edgeguard, you're done. So yeah, overall, if you're just starting out, learn to fight Dr. Mario, because when you know how to fight Dr. Mario, you understand the basic game plan of Duck Hunt. And then at that point, if you have any other really bad neutral habits, that Doc player is going to be able to exploit those, and you'll know how to get rid of them. Next up on the list, we have... God, I knew which one I wanted to talk about. Okay, so we'll talk about DDD. So DDD actually does have an easier fighting chance than the rest of most of the heavies. There's basically only one heavy that does better, and well, I would say there's two. So this is the thing about DDD. So DDD has like air camping, and honestly it's just a really weird, obscure thing that only a good DDD player is gonna be able to show you. Boss Sauce 58, thanks for the sub. But basically DDD you have to play against DDD in a really weird way. No, DDD's not our worst. It's definitely not DDD. DDD's just like able to do like all these really weird things with air camping, so he can deal with the can very easily. Doesn't really have to come into contact with he doesn't really have to come into contact with Clay Pigeon all too often. So that's not too bad for him. And then Gunman he basically can sort of avoid. But the main thing is this: if he gets a hit and he knows how to carry you off stage, DDD has a very easy time edge guarding because he has the disjoint with the hammer, and he can just kind of like air camp in the areas that Duck Hunt's going to be when he's recovering. So he's pretty good at closing out the stocks. However, of course, Gordo pressure is very fake, so we can just like knock that away with Can. And then one buff that DDD got that was pretty significant was the inhale as a reflector. So he can actually like inhale Clay Pigeon, and he can inhale Can and spit it back out. And that's good. He basically doesn't have to deal with projectiles as much because of that main thing. However, DDD is still going to get obliterated if a clay pigeon does hit him. He's still not going to be able to do Gordo pressure at all, which makes it really hard for him to approach. And he's very, very slow too, and his frame data is pretty terrible, all things are considered. So it's very easy to just keep winning neutral over and over and over again. The main thing that's going to kill you is if you don't know how to clean up your plate and you put yourself in vulnerable positions. DDD just needs one vulnerable position and he can kind of take you off. So as long as you can avoid that and you just like keep rinsing and repeating him and you just tell yourself, unless I get lucky, he's probably going to live to 180 and beyond. Just keep playing safe, keep him hit, get him to ledge, and then eventually kill him with like back air, down angle left tilt, or up air. But up air is not going to kill him for a very, very long time. Like up air in general is not going to kill DDD until 190%. It's just kind of a fact you have to live with. Mostly because like you'll stale up air a lot, and you'll stale up air a lot, and it's just because of like him being super heavy and a super fast faller. Those are the two things that like always do it right there. Okay, at this point, because I'm seeing all this talk about Luigi, let's talk about Luigi and why thinking that's even remotely even is a very dumb thing. Okay, Luigi has nothing. He's got one gimmick, and that's it. If he gets in, he's going to kill you. That's literally it. And from what I understand, if you do some good SDI, you should be able to get yourself in a position where he can't even kill you. But there might be some things where you can read that and he'll be able to get the kill you. He may be able to kill you. He has 0 ways to approach. He has to rely on a tether grab to get you, which gives him worse frame data. Then, not only that, he has 0 ways to land. They're going to mash their face against down B until it stops working. When it stops working, you outspace him and hit him with fair. When he's trying to recover, you just wait for the side B. After it goes, you can just go off stage and hit him, and that's it. He has nothing to do it. You can literally jump out and do a nair in the direction of his up B, and if he burned his jump, Luigi is dead. He does not have enough drift to make it back to do it. No, Elegant's a god. Elegant is an unbelievably good player that has some of the best fundamentals you will ever see on a player. That is the reason why Elegant does well. Because remember, Elegant just, for Luigi, you just need to get one grab or one confirm and you die. And that's the thing. So if Elegant gets one hit on you as Duck Hunt, then he's going to win. He's going to take your stock. But the thing is this, as long as you're very diligent with how you're doing everything and you know how to set yourself up and you know how to bait out the options he wants to go for, you can do it. No, like, that's the thing. Like, Elegant's just a very, very, very good player. And it's like, if you understand how to play against Elegant, then it'll be much better for you. It's just that Elegant's just amazing. He's just different. But yeah, that's the thing. It's like, oh, well, yeah, there you go. Luigi matchup chart for what? What do you do? I don't even know who Waka is, if I'm going to be honest. Yeah, no, that's extremely generous. Like, the thing you need to remember is that a lot of people that are fighting Duck Hunts are going to be fighting, like, Elite Smash Duck Hunts. And, like, those are very easy to just go in and get a grab and kill them. It's very rare that you're going to fight a good Duck Hunt to play. It's kind of like the same thing against, like, a DDD or, like, you know, like a good DDD or good K roll. Like, they're hard to find, so you're not exactly going to know how those matchups work. So it's much easier to find a decent Luigi player than it is a decent Duck Hunt player. Yeah, but yeah, so that's Luigi. Next up in advantage. I have to play a little bit more around with it, but I'm gonna put Ridley here. Ridley, kind of like the same thing as like all the other heavies, like big, fat, slow. It's just the thing about Ridley that's better. Like, he's either here or just slight advantage, is just because he has a really, really good disjoint. His disjoint's like absolutely incredible, and his punish game's really good. Edge guarding's really good. But of course, we can just obliterate Ridley very easily from making one mistake. Can't get out of juggles at all. Clay Pigeon destroys him. And the other thing too is like he's not that heavy, which makes it easier for us to kill him too. So it's like all those things combined makes it way easier for Duck Hunt to fight him. And it's like it's easy to keep him out. This is the one thing about Ridley though. Because he's so fast, he can make it hard for you to set up. So if you don't guess his dashing correctly, and like let's say you blow yourself up with Can, he might be able to juggle you and carry you off stage and kill you. So that's one thing that Ridley has. So Ridley, he's either here or slight advantage. But yeah. Like Ridley's a character where you should feel safe, but you do need to know how to fight him. He can blow you up if you're sleeping. You know, kind of a similar thing to Luigi in that respect. It's a bit easier to fight. It's a little less nerve-wracking to fight Luigi. Oh. Ice Climbers is going to be a little bit hard for me to judge because I haven't fought Ice Climbers. Like, I've only fought Owl. I haven't fought Owl's Ice Climbers with Duck Hunt yet. I've only fought him with K-Rool. So that's a little bit hard. Ice Climbers is a little bit hard for me to say. Not one I'm super confident in, but Ice Climbers is either like advantage or slight advantage. So if I remember, do we have a really easy time getting to separate Ice Climbers? That's what I can't remember. Yeah, we're not doing JMUs. Burst. Thanks for the follow. Yeah, that's what I kind of remember. It's like it's very easy to separate Ice Climbers, but it's like I don't like the last time I played the matchup was like in the beginning of the game. I haven't really played it recently. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about Ice Climbers just yet. I'll hold off on them. So let's see, slight advantage. Okay, yeah, I'm pretty confident putting Zelda here. Okay, Zelda, one of those characters that is a matchup check. Zelda is a character that if you don't know how to fight her, she's going to kill you at 40%, and you didn't see it coming. However, once you see it coming, it's a very different matchup. Obviously, the main issue with Zelda, can't approach. She's basically relying on just like spamming Nairu's Love and Night nonstop for the most part, because that's the most she can really do to get in. And then the other thing too is like, you know, one of her big gimmicks is if you're very careless with the way that you pull your projectiles, she can kind of teleport into you and just like kill you that way. So, you know, kind of hard for her to get in. In the neutral, she really shouldn't have too much of an advantage. Just like, you know, take out the Knight with Can and then kind of get in there and just bait out Nairu's Love, and then you'll be fine. The one thing about Zelda is this: she can always kill you at any instant. So that's kind of like the one thing. That's kind of like the one thing that's always going to go there. It froze. Oh. Okay. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. Oh, okay, so I gotta repeat Zelda again. Okay, so in terms of Zelda, so Zelda is a character that is basically the knowledge check character. So if you're a Duck Hunt main and you don't know what Zelda's looking for, she's going to kill you at 40%. Like, her Knight can be very disruptive to your thing. If you don't know how to fight Nairu's Love, that can be just very annoying. And the other thing too is, oh, get that guy out of here. The other thing too is that, you know, if you're not looking out for teleport, that's going to kill you just like extremely fast. Like that, like 40, 60% max rage, you're gone. So the main thing that you need to do is that you want to just like, you want to bait out Nairu's Love. You want to destroy the Knight with like Can, so then that way you don't really have to deal with that in neutral. And then you just abuse the fact that her approach options are terrible as you're like somewhat approaching her. She's gonna use Nairu's Love, bait that out. Go ahead, get your punish, rinse and repeat. You'll be fine. She dies really early too because she's super, super light. So you can reliably kill with like up air and can regardless how stale they are. But yeah, no, that's kind of it there. Yeah, Ridley has a disjoint, and Bowser doesn't have that. So that's kind of the better thing about Ridley versus Bowser. Bowser's just like this giant hurt box that gets hit by everything, and he'll trade with everything. Well, Ridley doesn't necessarily need to trade, and his juggling ability is much better. So that's kind of the thing with there. And not to mention the way that Ridley's fireballs work, they're better for edge guarding too. It's like overall, Ridley has a better time. So yeah, that's where I put Zelda. Let's see. Up next. Yeah, I don't think I would put any other characters here. Oh, Bowser Jr. Yeah, Bowser Jr. Yeah, Bowser Jr. is definitely here. Okay, Bowser Jr. Oh god, this character's unfortunate. He basically doesn't really have a good way to get in. He's gonna get stuffed out by Can. Clay Pigeon, don't use it, but you know if you hit him with a Clay Pigeon, you're gonna be able to kill him very easily. Just a really hard time getting in, a really hard time doing anything in neutral, and then you're just gonna be able to just if you know how to edge guard him, like Bowser Jr. does very, very early too. So those are all things that you can abuse. And then lastly, the thing about Junior is this. Mega Koopa, you obviously need to keep your eye on it. So just shield it, let it die there, and then be good with that. And then the other thing too is that Bowser Jr.'s cannonballs will go through your entire setup. So if you're not ready for that, Bowser Jr. is just going to keep knocking down your setup, and you're going to just kind of get like, you know, destroyed for that. So just be ready for that. But that's kind of the one thing he has. Obviously, Bowser Jr.'s punish game is really, really good. Pretty decent disjoint too in terms of dealing with you. Because of the duck, depending on how the stage is set up, he might have an easier time getting the 2-frame with F smash. But most of the time, our 2-frame is so good that it's going to miss. But yeah, no, overall, when you know how to fight this character, he's not hard to fight. Side B's not good. Cannonball's not great. That's pretty easy. Oh, yeah, there's actually 2 other characters. So yeah, Bayonetta, I would put here. Bayonetta is the character that got hit with the nerfs. And we feel them very well still to this day. So this is the thing about Bayonetta. If you know how to SDI, she legitimately can't kill you. If you know the combo routes, like if she's doing Witch Twist, you do like down and away for the most part. And then there's like even like down and in. You kind of mix it out between those 2 parts there. No, it's down and away and up and away. You mix it between those 2, and basically she's not going to be able to do anything to kill you. Now that she actually has lag when she lands too, really easy to get punishes on her with that as well. She's very light, so can kills pretty reliably, up air kills pretty reliably. And, you know, not to mention you can kill her very early with up smash too. So that's a really good dash punish you can do. And, you know, where we can punish her for trying to recover to the ledge with shield can as well with the Marth Slayer. So overall, pretty easy character to fight if you understand how Bayonetta works. Obviously, you still got to worry about witch time. But if she witch times once, like for the next 30 seconds, witch time's out of play. Like she might be able to get a smash attack. But that's about it. So it's like there's no more 0 to deaths. She can somewhat edge guard, but she needs to make sure she kills you with that as well. But like neutral's rough for her. Her punish game's not great. And like even like edge guarding, while she can definitely kill us that way, even that's much harder for her now than it was in the past. But yeah, that's kind of it. Yeah, Nintendo, if your Wii Fit Trainer matchup's not up there, that means you suck at fighting Wii Fit Trainer. Yeah, Bayo's very easy. Next up, we'll put Little Mac. I forgot to put him there. So Little Mac, obviously, the eternal meme of an existence. Little Mac, you know, very easy to kill, very easy to get him down. Obviously, loses to shield can, but if he does down angled F smash, he is going to just break your shield. So that's the one thing you need to be careful about. Okay, just because you don't want to fight Kirby doesn't mean that matchup isn't easier. What was it? What was it? Yeah, so Little Mac, he's really strong. If he gets in, he'll kill you, and he low profiles really nicely, so he can get around a lot of things that way. It's just that he's not very safe on shield at all. He needs to make sure he spaces like down tilt, and that's pretty much it, and like jab 1. And the back hit of F up tilt's pretty safe as well. But that's mostly it. If he's going to combo you, it's going to rely a lot off of tech chases and things like that, and then like certain platform follow-ups, but you can always mix it up with going so where can is, and you can also mix it up with get up attacks. But you know, Little Mac's that character. On a good day, he'll blow you up. But as long as you're diligent and with all of no, shield can. Like, that's the thing with, that's kind of like the thing with it. Like Little Mac can pressure your shields and all that stuff, but depending on what option he's using is going to determine how punishable it is. So let's go through it. So like his jabs, he can jab check you. If he does jab 3, that's a free grab. He doesn't have enough distance for that not to be true. Rapid jab finisher, you can drop shield and do whatever you want. Forward tilt's -17. He's too close to be spaced away, so you can just grab that easily. Up tilt, if he hits you with the front part, you actually can just like punish him with a grab. Down tilt, if he spaces this, then you can't punish that. That's hard to punish. We don't have an out shield option for that. Dash attack, obviously, you can punish with up smash, or you can punish with a grab. F smash, depending on what he uses, will determine if you can punish it or not. Up smash, not safe at all, -23. Down smash, front hit's pretty easy to punish. Back hit, I wouldn't risk it because he can just kind of push you back, and by the time you do an option, he's going to throw another thing. Like Little Mac is that character you need to predict 2 swings and then you punish it. That's kind of the way it works. But yeah, so like Little Mac, you do need to know how to fight him. But honestly, if you get your 3 openings on him and he dies, you know, you won. He has to do a little bit more work to kill you because he can't like exactly go off stage to gimp you and everything. And obviously, there's no air fight. So like if you get a stock lead, you can circle camp Little Mac, and that's it. Yeah, and the other thing too is like if you get the stock lead, you circle camp Little Mac, and there's nothing he can do. And that's pretty much it. It's just that he's good enough at getting around Duck Hunt's neutral that, like, you know, I wouldn't say he's the worst at fighting us, but he's obviously not good. That's why it's still an advantage. Yeah, anyone else? Okay, I think I know the next 2 characters I'm going to put here. Over here, I'm going to put... I'm going to put Ike here. So this is the thing about Ike. Something you need to remember, that one thing that I think like a lot of people just don't realize about Ike is that he has among the absolute worst recoveries in the entirety of the game. If you place can where quick draw is going to go, he is going to have to swing at that, and then he needs to up B. And that is a very, very easy thing that you can exploit and just like kill him off of. So if you're ready for, like, you knock him off stage, dash attack your can, get that right to where he's going to be. And if he has to swing in an area where he needs to up B, like close to the blast zone, he's dead. And there's nothing he can do about that. So when you get good at that, that's gonna be a very easy thing. Obviously, Aether, if you do full charge F smash, you can punish him. You can also down air him from the top very easily. And then also you can shield can it as well. Actually, no, you can't shield can Ike. You can shield can Crom, but you can't shield can Ike. But yeah, like overall in neutral, Ike's all right. It's very linear in the fact that you can predict that he's going to go for the nair. So, you know, you can either get good at parrying it, or you can just stuff him out before he does it by like doing jump fair. And like Ike's moves are slow. Like when he's in the air, the only move that's quick is back air. Back air, if he has his back turned to you, you know, he can realistically keep you out with that. But the thing is, the hitbox is like relatively narrow to hit us. But, you know, like neutral air, that comes out frame 10. And the other issue that it has, it starts up the front. So if he wants to stuff out your fair, So this is 10, 11, 12. He basically needs to get to frame 12 before he's able to stuff you out. So don't really need to worry about that. Forward air starts frame 11, starts at the top. So this is 11, 12, 13. So he basically needs to get to frame 13 to stuff you out in these things. So, you know, that's relatively easy. If we look at back air, well, it is a nice hitbox and all that stuff. Realistically, he can somewhat keep you out with it. But us being a short character, we can kind of have an easier time getting around that. It's just, if we're juggled, this is like the bane of your existence the second he gets one nair on you. That move is so good. But yeah, outside of that, there's not really too much. Yeah, now Byleth has a little bit rough too. Byleth I need to play a little bit more. But yeah, no, overall, Ike, if you're not as good at, obviously online, Ike's going to do slightly better against us just because he doesn't really react. He kind of puts out hitboxes preemptively, and he's going to use that to get rid of your projectiles and all that stuff. Where us, it's to fight Ike, you want to be much better at reacting. So he kind of gets a buff from Wi-Fi in that respect. But going offline, it's not really something that you're going to have to deal with. Shield Man. That's funny. Next up, let's see. Let's put... You know, two characters that I should put, but honestly, it's more of that I don't know enough about them unless there's some niches, but just from what I remember. Sword Fighter should be here. Brawler should be here. Again, I'm just going to say this right now. This is without too much matchup experiences on these two. But from what I remember how they fight and the fact that most of their cheese kind of got rid of, you shouldn't have too much of a difficult time. Know how to deal with Sword Fighter specials. You'll do fine. Basically, what you need to do is jump and avoid the tornado. Because tornado can lead into up air and that can kill you really early. Sword Fighter has some cheese to kill you mad early. And I remember at first Sword Fighter did have an infinite with the chakra arm, but I don't know if that's fake. That might have been patched out or something. So, I wouldn't be as worried about that. Brawler, he doesn't really have a good way to get in. He's got some good combos. Not the best ways and forms of killing, as I don't think he has anything that confirms it to his up Bs anymore. So he's mostly looking for just hard reads to get the kill on you. His options aren't exactly the strongest to get those kills. Man, we're trying to get some advertise here. Not the Gimpy special. Gotcha. Yes, I didn't put Gunner. I didn't put Gunner in advantage because I know Gunner's got some other things besides that. Flaming dropkick? Are you talking about the side B? What? That's like saying that you're losing to a non-grabbable version of Flame Choke. From what I remember of how that move works, I remember that move being slow. Unless it changed it, that's the thing. It's I haven't really played much Brawler. I played Brawler a lot in Smash 4. So if they changed the way that move worked, then okay, that's a different story. But how is that gonna work against projectiles? The argument's already done the second you say that. Let me see the move. Me Brawler. Actually, let me see if they have... I don't know if they have all the custom moves in here. I hope they do. Which one was it? Flaming Dropkick. Obviously, Exploding Kick, you don't have to worry about. Mashing Punch, don't really... Shot Put, that's pretty good, especially for edge guarding. Onslaught, it's basically a grab. Wisdom, you gotta be... With all due respect, you gotta be shitting me. Yeah, take out all the people that are doing the ads. Oh my god. This should not be a move that should be doing anything to you. It's negative 22 on shield. You should be able to just like full hop there that. Or short hop there it. Yeah, no, we're done with that move. Unless you're talking about like not soaring act kick. If you're talking about feint jump's pretty good. But yeah, no, well, done. We're not talking about that anymore. Okay, and now I think we're gonna go into slight advantage. Yeah, me Brawler's so weird. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, you know, if my connection disconnects and reconnects like 10 frames later and I get hit by it, sure. But yeah, I mean, I will have to see it in an actual match to see what it even looks like now. But yeah, because like back in Smash 4, oh god, that move was awful. And that like, just judging by the animation showing there, it still looks the same, but I'll have to see. But yeah, I think we'll move on to slight advantage. There might be some more that I put there. Some easy ones. I'm going to put Corrin here. Corrin, buffs really helped. Buffs helped significantly. Now that she like has like a consistent way to get kills and all that stuff, and like they can actually use pin, you have to be careful. You have to be a lot more careful now. But the thing is like they don't really have anything super crazy and neutral that can make you approach them. They're pretty linear in how they're going to be getting to you. They can't really use the pin kick safely. So if they pin kick, it's basically going to be right on your shield. Very easy punish there. If they're not careful with their spacing, which most Corrins aren't, shield can's going to punish them as well. But other than that, yeah, Corrin's got a really good juggle game or really good combo game. Neutral Air is very good at dealing with can in general, so they can kind of just swap that away. And then now that they have like actual kill confirms, it's easier for them. So that's why I'm gonna put overall you should be winning most of the exchanges in this matchup, and you shouldn't have a difficult time getting them to killed. And the other thing too is that oh, Diddy Kong, I forgot to put him. And then the other thing too is that with Corrin is that you can edge guard them too. The edge guarding is actually pretty important, just because you can, instead of them living for a while because they're heavy, they die relatively early. So those are things that you have to do, but by no means is this bad for Corrin. They're really good. Like if they get a hit on you, you need to take 70 or 80% guaranteed. There's nothing you can say or do about that. And when you're at 80%, you are at death percent against Corrin. But if you know like the fair setup to look out for and things like that, look out for tipper pin, look out for paralyzer shot, you'll be fine. But outside of that, oh yeah, paralyzer shot doesn't really work in neutral. But you know, you have to be very careful about your air dodges and all that stuff. So, you know, not bad for the mighty stretch of the imagination, but like I think there's slightly more in our favor. However, if you favor punish game more, they might think that Corrin wins it. And that's what it mostly comes down to. Like, we can kill Corrin early, but you need to be really good at edge guarding them. That's what that comes down to. Yeah, Diddy Kong. Honestly, Diddy Kong's either in slight advantage or an advantage. I'm going to put it at advantage, actually. So, biggest thing with Diddy Kong. Smash 4 Diddy Kong, it was either even or we slightly won that. But now that Diddy Kong basically lost everything that he had in Smash 4, it's infinitely easier for us. Basically, banana play doesn't work. Monkey flip kick got worse, so that's pretty easy to just kind of play around and react to. Not to mention, if you place can against Gunman and he does the kick version of monkey flip kick, that's an automatic shield can punish on them too. So there's a lot of setups that you have. Banana should just never come into play because of how you set up can and Gunman as well. And just the way that we can control the stages, especially with the platforms and all that stuff, makes it really hard for Diddy Kong to get anything done. What music is this? Okay, that works. Though I'd rather have like, let's do that one. Yeah, so yeah, with Diddy Kong, basically he has a much harder time killing. He has a much harder time getting anything done in neutral, and just like overall, it's just hard for him to get anything started. So definitely, probably a solid advantage to us. Not impossible, but it's hard. Berserk? Oh, we weren't doing Berserk. Oh yeah. No, I have that background. I think you've been on my streams. You should have seen that. Next up, let me see. Is there any other ones I had to put at advantage? I don't think so. Okay, actually, let's talk about Lucario. Lucario's either slight advantage or advantage. I haven't played the matchup enough to say. I'm going to put him in slight advantage for now. Basically, Lucario suffers from the perfect storm of duck hunt problems. Heavy, hard to kill, gets infinitely buffed from being hard to kill. So on that aspect, his explosiveness against duck hunts is extremely good. However, it's just like there's just like a lot of reasons why Lucario's worse in this game than he was in Smash 4. I know like the Aura Sphere charge into like its kill confirms I think are gone, but I'm not really sure what the other things are. Like I know certain things about Aura got more tweaked, but Rage isn't as BS, so he doesn't kill you as early. So there's a lot of things. Honestly, not super confident on the Lucario one. I want to say slight advantage. Might be advantage. Might be even. Haven't played a good enough Lucario player on the matter, and I would have to ask Ryder for his thoughts, because he's definitely fought Sue at some point, so I'd have to say. Let's see what else. This is where I am also going to put Mewtwo. Slight advantage. Pre-buffs, that was strong. That was just an advantage. Like Mewtwo got guttered so hard. It's actually hilarious to watch. Obviously, super glass cannon character. He dies ridiculously early. Like Can's gonna kill him at like 120. The other thing too is huge hurt box, which makes it even easier to hit him. So clay pigeon chains work really well against him. So like if you clay pigeon him at 60, he's probably dead. But now that he's got like his, I think it's like the grab game got better, the down tilt got better, Shadow Ball got a lot better. That was huge. And I think Mewtwo's have just been able to figure out just like more like confirms and other cool things with this character that he's gotten better. And the other thing too, he is really fast and his punish game's really good. So by having those two things, it's like it makes it a little bit harder for Duck Hunt to set up. However, Duck Hunt does mostly mitigate the whole Shadow Ball pressure, so that makes it hard for him. Actually, wait. Honestly, now I say that out loud, Mewtwo's probably an advantage. It's just like, I wasn't really thinking much about the Shadow Ball pressure. Yeah, I was about to say. Honestly, just because we get rid of the Shadow Ball buff that he got, just because we shouldn't really deal with it, it's kind of rough for him. Obviously down tilt's good and things like that, but just the fact that it's still part of his hurt box and everything, Shield Ken's getting beat it out. Take care, dude. Shield Ken's gonna take care of like all of his like aerials on Shield because none of them are disjointed, so that's not gonna be an issue. Then the Shadow Ball neutral, not something that you really need to deal with, so it's not gonna be an issue. So basically, he's gonna have a really hard time struggling to get in if you have your wall set up. But the thing is this, with Mewtwo, oh God, I'm sorry, I was like kind of reading the chat at the same time. Like the biggest thing with Mewtwo is that he doesn't have a solid way to get in, but if you haven't set up yet, he can just kind of run right in and then prevent you from setting up. That's kind of the biggest thing. But yeah, as long as you get the setup, it's hard to beat him. It's hard for him to do anything. It's kind of relying on that. So yeah, that's where I'm going to put Mewtwo. The next one I'm going to talk about is Lucas. So this one I'm pretty confident in talking about. Lucas, basically, PK Fire the character. Zare's pretty good too, but because we're so small, it's kind of easy to get around, unless he's like really good at spacing it. And his combo game is good, but doesn't really lead into kills. The one thing that he has that's nice is really good edge guarding. and then like PK Freeze can like honestly obliterate you. So that's like one thing to get around it. But like the way PK Fire interacts with your projectiles, like Gunman and can sort of auto punish Duck Hunt at the same time. So you need to be a little bit more cautious about how you're placing it around. So it's like, you know, he doesn't have a terrible time in neutral, but not in his favor. He's not really going to kill you too well or too easily. And the thing is, like, you're able to juggle him and just kind of block off his mobility pretty easily. So overall, not a hard character to fight. We definitely have a lot of advantages in our favor, but like, it's not like it's the most impossible thing for him to get around and whatnot. And he has disjoints too, so like if he's going for trades, he's going to win them. So that does help. But yeah, no, overall, not too bad for Lucas, but it's not great for him. It's just, you know, he loses, but if he's playing good, you need to be playing good yourself to keep him out. And if you're playing a little bit off, he might be able to beat you. And that, I'll actually put the other PK kid, Ness. Ness is just buttons and mashing, except he has worse range than Lucas for the most part. Hard? Yeah, like, the thing with like Ness is that he can't really use like PK Fire in this matchup as much. It's way more limited compared to how Lucas can utilize it. It's just that the punish game from Ness is better, which is the biggest thing. Like, this is the what. Okay, if we're gonna talk fully optimized, most people on average in tournament settings, it's probably gonna be this. Fully optimized, probably gonna be that. Just because Ness doesn't really have a good way to get in. He has a really good punish game, but obviously he doesn't really have a good way to deal with projectiles. All of them leave him pretty vulnerable, whether it's going for F smash or trying to mess with things with like PK Thunder. You know, you're going to keep him in the air. He's not really going to be landing. He has disjoints to at least knock can away, but because he has multi-hit moves, the amount of like hit stun that puts him in makes it really easy to up air him. So as long as you know how to bait those things out and you know how to edge guard him, like just drop the can. As long as he hits the can, his distance is shortened, or you can even zap the thunder away from him. Lucas, you don't really have that luxury for edge guarding him to get the early kills, just because his PK Thunder doesn't go away. But you can reduce his mobility by hitting the can though, so it's like you'll get around that a little bit better. You just know it's gonna happen, so it's like it's a magnet. Exactly, yeah. So it's like you really don't have to worry about it. It's a very easy thing to bait and play around. So, yeah, honestly, yeah, that's probably correct. Like, Lucas is better at fighting Duck Hunt overall than Ness is. And once you're good enough, Ness should realistically be there. Next up, I would definitely put Falcon in. I have to play against this iteration of Falcon a bit more. I know more people feel advantage compared to slight advantage. No, there's certain tools about Ness that are better. Like, Lucas is not going to die nearly as easily as Ness is. Then the other thing too is like Falcon, he's that character that can blow you up immediately and kill you. And he got the biggest issue in before pre-buffs, really hard for him to do that. Easily would have been an advantage. With the new buffs, it definitely got easier for him to do. So I honestly have to play this matchup more. Because it's like, realistically, you should be able to keep him out, but he always has the speed to prevent you from setting up and all that stuff. But, you know, Falcons, I think, like, once you're fully optimized, Falcon is here. But if you're not fully optimized, Falcon is here. That's kind of the way that I see it. So if we're going to be going off of a fully optimized tier list, once you know what you're doing, Falcon should be here. I won't deny, though, there might be some technology and like ways that Falcons can use hitboxes to get around certain spacings of Duck Hunt to get a better position for killing. That's always possible. Like, I think there's probably some more things that Falcons can do, but there's probably a lot more that Duck Hunt can do against Falcon to make it more in that favor. So we'll put Falcon over there for now. And remember, this is if you are a master at the matchup. Like, you know everything you're doing. You understand everything the Falcon wants to do. Falcon's in here. But in general, most people are probably going to be in this category. Next up, I would definitely put Meta Knight here in slight advantage. So the thing with Meta Knight is just really, really good burst options, really good at edge guarding, really easy for getting him out, really good at like just killing us in general. The thing is this, Meta Knight is way too linear to not do anything at all. Yeah, that's why like the characters that can still beat Duck Hunt, they're an advantage. Like they have the capability to win. It's hard. With Meta Knight, it's just like a little bit easier for him because he's smaller, really good speed, so he's kind of able to low profile things. Does have a disjoint, so that does help with certain trades and whatnot, and just like kind of some weird niche things. And he definitely has one of the best edge guarding games against Duck Hunt in general. So those things really help him out, but it's just that neutral's hard. Neutral's really, really hard for him. And I think if you know what you're doing against Meta Knight, I don't think you can realistically 0 to death Duck Hunt unless the side blast zones are very short. Those are the few times that I can see it happening. But outside of that, you really shouldn't have too much issue with this character. Next up, honestly, one I should have probably talked about earlier, Byleth. Byleth is an advantage. So Byleth, I feel like for the most part, is kind of better at fighting Duck Hunt than most of these characters, just because like the range on her part is very good. If she knows exactly how you want to set up your wall, you can hit that out as well. So those things are good for her. It's just that her recovery is super, super exploitable. Doesn't really have the best time in neutral, but she can just play a far more distance game than compared to what you're used to. And that really does help her out in terms of fighting Duck Hunt's traps and everything. So overall, she can play way safer against Duck Hunt than basically all the other characters. It's just that it's kind of hard for her to get any sort of advantage off of it. It's just that she's going to be kind of playing a lot more like neutrally, but like once Duck Hunt kind of sets up that position for her to open herself for Duck Hunt to get in, and then she'll kind of get blown up, she'll get carried to the other side of the stage, and then she's in a whole ledge trap situation, and that's rough for her. So overall, definitely not bad at fighting Duck Hunt, but like it's not good for her either. If the Duck Hunt doesn't know what they're doing against Byleth, she'll probably beat the Duck Hunt pretty easily. But if the Duck Hunt knows how to set up against Byleth, it's going to be hard for her. Yeah. So yeah, that's kind of overall how I feel about Byleth. Next up, let's see, who do I want to talk about? Okay, if I'm going to be perfectly honest, I have zero clue where to place Piranha Plant. This is a matchup that I have not explored enough yet, because there's things that Piranha Plant can do that prevent the need for him, that kind of prevent him from needing to approach us, because like he can sort of deal with all of her stuff because of Poison Cloud. But at the same time, I feel like he has to. So I need to play this matchup more. So I don't really feel comfortable about talking about that one yet. Then let's see. Okay, two that I know that I'm going to put. Slight Advantage, Richter, and Simon. Knowledge check characters in their truest form. Basically, these characters are very bad characters. However, they have a lot of good things against Duck Hunt. Cross, absolutely amazing of just going through like all of Duck Hunt's projectiles and setups. So very good at dealing with that. And he has very good range. So that means he can play pretty safely. But the thing is that his hitboxes are super, super narrow and precise. And there are just some instances where Belmonts just do not work. And that's rough for them. So if you know how to play that mid-range game of like being able to get in and just blow them up and then edge guard them, they just die immediately. Like they get worse recoveries than Little Mac, and that's a very hard thing to come by. So as long as if you're good with setting up against them and you know the neutral game plan against them, you'll have an easy time getting in. But their tools are very good against Duck Hunt too. That's kind of a hard thing to ignore. So Belmont's slight advantage. Probably one of the hardest ones for Duck Hunt players to learn. But once you learn it, you'll win. I completely agree with you. Yeah, no, Inkling, slight advantage. Again, Inkling kind of runs into that issue. Not too much that she has that she can do against Duck Hunt just because of the way we can set up and trap against her. You can control the splat bombs very well. Ink, I have to see if Ink actually gets blocked by Gummon at all. I'm not too sure about that. And then just overall, pretty hard time killing. Of course, they're pretty good at edge guarding, but they kill you very late. You kill them a lot earlier in general. And they basically need to fish for rollers to get the kill. The window for them to get the up throw up air on us is super small, so like that's not even reliable. If they got on you, they did really good planning for that. So like overall, it's kind of rough for Inkling, but no, not unwinnable by any stretch of the imagination. Really good mobility. Their low profiling is very annoying to deal with, but they still get hit by a lot of things. Yeah, it's just like we kind of shut her out a little bit more neutral. And for the most part, Inkling should be winning the neutral more as the type of character that she is. And because of that, slight win for us. Okay, so one of the weirdest characters to rank in the entirety of the cast in terms of just fighting Duck Hunt is King K. Rool. In terms of where I think when you fully optimize everything, King K. Rool, we have an advantage over him. However, he has some of the best anti-Duck Hunt technology out there. And if you do one slip up, even if you're like, you know, half stage distance away, you're just dead. Just because of the way that Crown can work. And the other thing too is his unreactable burst range with dash attack is like ridiculous. So really, really bad projectile pulls are going to get you killed at like 80, 60, 90. If you don't know how to fight King K. Rool, King K. Rool feels like he wins. When you know how to fight him better, it's going to feel like an even matchup. But at the end of the day, when you understand how to fully punish King K. Rool, because Clay Pigeon chains still work against him. If you understand how to set those up against him, you're going to have a very easy time killing him. And it's mostly that. Edgeguarding King K. Rool is kind of weird. You can definitely do it, but if they know how to stall properly, it's really risky for Duck Hunt to actually go off stage and edgeguard him. So like that's one thing that you have to look at about. And K. Rool actually has like all these ledge setups that he can do that makes it basically impossible for Duck Hunt to recover. So his edgeguarding against Duck Hunt and ledge trapping is really good. I'm gonna have to get water in a second. And Crown's really good for dealing with Duck Hunt setups in general. So you need to be more creative on how you set up against him. You can't be careless. And the other thing too is you can't use traditional juggling. Like low percents, you can do up air, up air, up air. You're fine. But after that's done, he can nair through your up air, so he never has to deal with that again. So you need to be ready to call that out. Not to mention, he can also use Crown to get through every single one of our aerials, and there's nothing we can do about it. Like, he's just going to armor it. So, doesn't really have a hard time landing, but like if you know what to look for, you can just kind of get around it. The thing about K. Rool is if he's really good at timing his Crown pulls, like let's say you're about to do like a full hop can, he can jump and crown it and then basically just punish you for pulling the can too. So like Crown's really good. Like realistically, this is how it works. If your punish game is good enough against K. Rool that you're killing him at 150%, you're gonna win as Duck Hunt. If you're not, if K. Rool, like, if I can think of ways to just like optimize the survivability more, where it's like you need to get past 150% to kill me, K. Rool's here. Just because it's like, the thing is that when like K. Rool's able to exploit just rage against Duck Hunt so easily. Like realistically, every single game, 60% should be the percent that you die. Not to mention back throw at ledge will kill Duck Hunt at like 80% now. Down throw into dash attack will kill at 100% at the ledge. Then, you know, dash attack's going to kill 100% at the ledge too and all that stuff. But yeah. Now, overall, it's like neutral, not bad for K. Rool. It's mostly landings are going to be rough. And then if K. Rool's forced to approach, that's where it's going to be rough in. But like outside of that, when you optimize your punish game as Duck Hunt, he's here. When you don't optimize it, K-roll's here. It's entirely dependent on how good your punish game is on K-roll. Otherwise, you're going to be here. Yeah. So yeah, overall, since we're doing this in terms of just like optimal matchups, like if you're playing the most optimally possible, K-roll's here. But in general, especially under a tournament setting, you're probably going to run into this a lot more. But because for the sake of playing the most optimal, we'll put him here. Slight advantage. I'm going to put Rob here. So Rob is that character that... No, you don't beat K-roll free. K-roll is not free at all. Like, if I could put another category between advantage and slight advantage, that's where K-roll would be. So that's why he's kind of like on the lower aspect of it. Rob is a knowledge check character again. Basically, the way that Rob works is that Gyro's really good for messing with Can, but you can block it with Gunman. And once you catch Gyro, that basically gets rid of the entire thing that he's going to use to like pressure you. And then lasers on a timer, so you don't have to deal with that. So once you deal with those two things, Clay Pigeon eats up Rob alive. Like 60%, 80%, he's probably dead at that point. And like at 60%, go for the down air, so then that way you can edge guard him. And then if he's at 80%, just go for the back air when you carry him across the stage. So that way he should die off the side. Really, really easy to get the kill on him. Obviously, make sure your mash is good to avoid the down throw setups to avoid the kill. Because like if your mashing's good enough, he can never kill you off of that in a true fashion. He has to read it. And then yeah, that's the thing. It's like once you take Gyro away, Rob has no neutral advantage, and it's really hard for him to get in. Nair is a gimmick in terms of landing. He has to get it up. He has to go up pretty high for that to start up. If you know how to call that out, it's really hard for him to do it. And not to mention, because of parry, you can parry him as he's landing with Nair and then punish it. So even that's not too bad. And if you get behind him, you can punish him as well because the hitbox finishes in front of him. So there's a whole bunch of things that you can do against Rob. So pretty easy overall. It's just that if you're not ready to fight him, he'll just kind of kill you immediately. And it kind of comes down to that. So I'm going to take a quick break just to refill my water, and I will be right back. So stay tuned, everybody.